Hello and welcome back to the Soprano podcast. I am your host and my name is Heidi. And yeah, that's it. Bye. What if I just hung up? What if I just hung up the phone right now? Yeah, guys, hello. So, oh man, how's it going? How are you? What you been up to today? What are you doing? What did you have for lunch and breakfast and dinner? Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so I'm not gonna have I don't think I have a lot to say today, so it's gonna be a short pod. We are on episode 51. If you did not listen to yesterday's episode, that was episode 50, as one could expect. Today's episode 51. But yeah, so today was a little bit of a forced adventure day. I went to do some errands. Did you finish those errands? I did. I went to Whole Foods and I was like telling myself, because I already went to the Asian market one time this week, and I was like, listen, there's some weird things that are at Whole Foods that I know I can only get at Whole Foods, and there's 6 different types of kale and weird sweet potatoes that they have, and I needed those things. I wanted to meal prep specific things. So I was like, fine, I'll allow myself to go to Whole Foods, even though I literally hate Whole Foods. It makes me so angry. Because who gave them permission to make a jar of peanut butter? Like a regular jar of peanut butter. Who gave them the space to make that $5? A regular old jar of peanut butter, $5. You're going to be dropping $5 hairs on a freaking jar of peanut butter. I don't think so, okay? That made me pretty upset. And also, there was a jar of almond butter next to the peanut butter, and I'm not necessarily a fan of almond butter, but I noticed it, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get the almond butter. It's not as famous as Sister Peanut Butter. Almond butter was $10. What? Who is creating these prices? Jesus Christ. It's like, I also needed some frickin' olive oil. And I go over to the olive oil aisle, and what do I see? All the olive oils are over $9. You cannot get a container of olive oil at Whole Foods unless you want to spend at least $9. And that's just the bottom of the barrel. If you want to get the crappiest olive oil that Whole Foods has to offer, $9 buckaroos. If you're trying to get the nice fancy stuff, you better make a down payment, because it's going to be $12, $13. I saw one for $20. Could you imagine where you need to be in life for you to justify spending $20 freaking dollars on a thing of olive oil? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Anyway, that's how I feel about Whole Foods. Yeah, I just find it very pretentious and very overpriced. Sorry, I don't care that this has, unicorn dandruff in it, or, beeswax from the Himalayas. I don't care. I have low standards, okay? And I'm also poor. I'm not trying to drop, a semester's tuition when I go to get groceries, for Christ's sake. But anyway, also, I've never talked about this, but I usually am a big advocate for this, and if you are interested in it, you should check it out. It's a food share. If you're on Long Island and you're interested, I think they have multiple locations. You should check them out, and then you don't have to buy groceries at all, ever. Because there's this food share and I believe their name is Food Not Bombs. And you can message me if you're really interested in it, but I'm also sure that it's relatively easy to find online. But basically, they're this amazing organization that intercepts like big commercial stores' food waste. And basically what they do is they go in like on garbage day essentially for food markets like Whole Foods. They go into Whole Foods, they go into all of these like big retail. I think Whole Foods is the biggest one, but I'm pretty sure they do other places as well. And what they do is they just take all of the stuff that Whole Foods has to get rid of because it's going to be either close to or like it's coming up on the expiration date. Or like, it's weird though because it's not expired. Like the food isn't expired. What it is, though, is it's, like, close to, like, maybe 3 or 4 days close to the expiration date. And Whole Foods has to, like, throw it out. Because it's very strange, but in, like, the culinary world of, like, Western culture, we do not, like, culturally accept discounted food. Which is so bizarre to me because we don't question, like, what's in a Pop-Tart or, like, you know, how long that bag of Takis has been on the shelf. Like, we don't question any of that. But if there's, like, fresh produce or fresh bread or even packaged stuff like cereals and rice and beans, canned foods, anything like that, we do not as a culture, like, accept the idea of discounted food, which is so strange. So what happens is, terrible, these stores, like Whole Foods, like, literally think of every single location of Whole Foods. Think of every single Whole Foods on the planet. Okay? Get that number in your head. I have no idea what it is, but I think we both can agree that it's probably a big number, right? Think about every single one of them, like, every week, every day, however many times they do it, it's very frequent, I am aware, they throw out a bunch of food that's about to expire in a couple of days. They just throw it away. They throw it into the garbage. Tons and tons, literal like metric tons of food, just right into the trash. So what this company does, and like they're not sponsoring me, like no one's telling me to say this, like this is just a really good company, and I have volunteered for them in the past, and you know, I frequent them when I can, although sometimes it's not ideal for me. But basically what they do is they go there with like big trucks and they just take like truckloads. Literally, it's that much food for like one location. Truckloads, boxes of food, vegetables, fruits, all of these things. They take all of this stuff and they go to these locations that they go every single week to the same location and they just give it away for free. They put it in boxes, and since it's the pandemic, people drive up in their cars and they just give it away for free. It's literally that simple. And in the past, it has been in person and people have walked up and there's been tables and you set it out and, you know, it's a whole event. But the one that I go to is, I believe, on Thursday nights. And I believe it starts at probably like 6:30 or something, around there, 6:30. You have to look it up, so I'll try and link any information that I can in the description. But if you're in the Long Island area, dude, you've got to check it out. Like, literally, when I was working at Starbucks, which is how I found out about this, because one of my coworkers there was like super involved with it, and that's why I volunteered, because I would volunteer and then I would just get like literally a week's worth of groceries for me and my roommate at the time. Like, I would just get a bunch of food. There's like 500 loaves of bread that they're trying to give out, and like a million different kinds of like fruits and vegetables and produce, but also like tons of non-perishables. Like, Whole Foods just throws these things away, like rice and like dehydrated foods and soups and corn and like stuff in cans. Like, I'm not kidding. It's crazy how your eyes they just become open to the amount of food waste that's going on in your area. It's not happening somewhere else. It's happening literally in your area, right at your local Whole Foods. And Trader Joe's. They take stuff from Trader Joe's too. And you just have to check it out because it's really cool. And they're accommodating for the pandemic. Like, people just literally drive up. I think there's one in Brooklyn or somewhere else. So if you're like one of my friends out there, like, you gotta get on this, girl. Because they have multiple locations all over the island. There's one out, I think, in Holbrook here. And you just gotta get on it. Oh my god, it's so good. And if you think about it, if you plan your life around the fact that you're gonna just get groceries every week on Thursday, and you don't necessarily know what they're gonna be, but you're like, hey, I'm gonna get groceries. You can, like, plan out the next, like, 4 or 5 days of meals, and it doesn't even matter that these things are, like, close to their expiration date because you're gonna use them. And it totally makes sense for me because also this is like a vegetarian thing. Like, they don't do any like meats and stuff. And I think they do cheeses and stuff, but they have vegan options as well. They've got like all of that. Literally, they've got like all of that like weird, far out, like pricey, expensive vegan foods, like those vegan cheeses, those vegan yogurts, those almond milks, those oat milks, those nut pods, those creamers, they've got literally everything that Whole Foods is throwing away. They've got those expensive olive oils. They do. They just do. They've got mad coconut oil. They've got mad, canolas. They've got all the vegetable oils. They've got everything. They literally take it all. And they just give it away. Sometimes they even have, like, toiletries and stuff. Like, if they have to get rid of, like, certain soaps or deodorants or whatever. I'm telling you, you can't lose. So, check it out. And I'll link everything down below. But today, unfortunately, I did pay for my groceries like an idiot because last night was the food share, and I should have gone. But here I am. So I got some, just like, I got a lot of lettuce, actually. I got a lot of kale. I got some Swiss chard, some Swiss chard, some other things, and I made a bunch of salads with some extra firm tofu, and I harvested my microgreens today. I planted a window box full of microgreens, and they've been growing and they've been looking phenomenal, and I just harvested them all today. I'm gonna make I also got a pineapple, so I'm gonna make some pineapple fried rice. And I've got a bunch of scallions growing in the window box as well. I've got to harvest those bad boys soon. They're getting a little crazy. Like I said before, I don't know if whoever needs to hear this, if you use scallions in any form, like if you're a big scallion person, if you're a little scallion person, I don't even care, because you need to do this. If you take your scallion butts, the ones that are cut, right? You cut off the white part at the bottom with the little roots, the little fuzzy, hairy roots on the bottoms. You take those, you go ahead, you put them in a cup of water. I kid you not, within a week, you will have a fully respawned bushel of scallions. And let me tell you, from my experience, scallions are unlimited. They are freaking limited. You can have unlimited scallions if you want. You have the potential to grow unlimited scallions, and it's so easy. You literally just put them in a cup of water and they grow back. It's crazy. I don't know why more people don't do this. Why are we still buying scallions? You can have unlimited scallions. I just don't get it. Anyway. All right. Oh, it's time for our favorite segment, our favorite musical vitamin segment. We're going to do our minute sketch of great composers according to these two ladies who wrote this book in like 1933. Eva and Helen. Yeah, so Eva and Helen, this is according to them, and we stan a female author, but we have to take into account that this was written in the 1930s. So getting close on like 100 years old almost, and like 90, like it was written in I think 34, 33, something like that. So we take that into account every time we read. Today, our composer of the day is François Couperin. We have François Couperin up in here, guys. Let me just get... Do you do this too? I need like a piece of paper or something when I read out loud. I think I have undiagnosed dyslexia, but that's fine. So I got my piece of paper. I'm ready to go. Are you ready? Are you ready for your minute sketch? Here you go. Okay. Here we go. Okay. A coat of arms consisting of a sky blue ground, silver stars, a golden sun, and a golden lyre rewarded Couperin's labors for his Majesty Louis XIV, and its delicate pastel coloring seems perfectly to express the exquisite quality of his music. He was the last of a long family lineage of musicians to whose supposedly superior merit he paid modest tribute, although in his reality his genius vastly exceeded theirs. Paris was his birthplace, and in or near Paris he made his home from his birth on November 10th, 1668, until his death in 1773. Maître Tomelin, an organ virtuoso of much local renown and an intimate family friend, gave him such an excellent musical training that the pupil replaced the master as court organist upon the latter's death. This was no small honor, for his august majesty himself surprised the competition and made the final selection of young François from a large number of contestants. In 1694, Couperin, already married of 5 years, standing assumed the honorable title of Maître de clavecin des enfants de France, and taught all of the younger generation of royalty to tinkle prettily upon the harpsichord, in addition to fulfilling his duties as organist and composer of pieces for all of the festivities of a pleasure-loving court. About this time, some trios of the Italian Corelli were played at a musicale, whose brilliancy enthralled the volatile French audience. At the first opportunity, the canny Couperin had some of his own compositions performed, which he wrote in the same brilliant style and signed with an Italian version of his own name, Pernuccio. It was not... I never knew that. I'm having a moment. Pernuccio. That's interesting. It was not until long afterward that he confessed the innocent deception. Meanwhile, thanks largely to him, the Italian influence had come to stay. There were no music publishers then, but he himself brought out 4 large folio volumes of pieces for the harpsichord, done on copper plate. Whoa, done on copper plate, a magnificent example of bookmaking. His little pieces, allemands, courantes, sarabands, gigues, rondos, were perfect in form and tinkle as melodiously now as in their own day. He made harpsichord music as expressive as it can possibly be made. His larger works, La Pucelle, La Sultante, La Steinkerke, all written for special court occasions, are seldom played, but the 7 Sonates à Trois and the harpsichord pieces are classic. Delicate in health, as in his work, he died in 1733 at 65, leaving trailing wisps of fragile but deathless melody to support his fame. Dang! Okay, Couperin. We love it. So, first of all, I did not know that he, basically made a pen name. That's so interesting to me. I never think of, really, other than, women, female composers, writing under just their last name, or they try and write under their husband's name or something. I didn't know that he signed an Italian version of his name, Pernuccio. That's so interesting. It's just if you take Couperin, I'm sure all the letters are still there. Looks like it. But super interesting. And also, the word tinkle is in here twice. Just saying. That's, something that I noticed. And something else is, dang, dude, on copper plate? A magnificent example of bookmaking? I have to look that up because I'm not exactly sure what that means. What does it mean? Is it literally like they wrote these pieces of music on copper plates? Shoot. I'm gonna look that up right now. Copper plate music? Cupra? I'm not sure if anything's gonna come up, but yes. Oh my god. Okay, so on JSTOR, which is, where you look for articles and stuff. I'm not going to click into this entire article, but I can see from a snippet of it that it said Couperin's organ music, blah, 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 printed from engraved or etched copper plates. Confirms it's very difficult to... Blah, blah. Yeah, dude. Copper plates. Okay, wow. That's intense. That's hardcore. God. I don't know if you've ever, if you're a musician, I'm sure you've had to do this at some point, but have you ever just literally copied a piece of music? Like, you had to do it as an exercise or something in music theory, and you just straight up had to, like, get a blank staff paper and copy everything that you saw on the page. Maybe that was just something that I did in music theory, but that's a lot of work. Writing music out is a lot of work. I can't imagine what it must be to etch it in copper. Like, jeez. Okay, so that's our composer of the day, Couperin. Go listen to some harpsichord stuff, you guys. I feel like I have heard quite a bit of Couperin in my time here at Stony Brook because of our Baroque ensemble. We do quite a bit of... I think I even sang a Couperin duet. It might have been for, like, Queen Mary's coronation or something. I'm not exactly sure. But I think I have sung Couperin. This is very bad. I should know all the things that I've sung, but it's just... there's just a lot going on in my brain. Sorry. Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna go. I need a cup of tea. And... I'm a little bit stressed. And I'm not really sure if I'm going to tell you why or not. But God, I don't know. Maybe I'll tell you tomorrow. I'm not really feeling like talking about it all today, but I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening. And I hope you go check out the food share. Do it. Check out the food share. It's really cool. And that's all I've got to say today. If you like this podcast and you want to support it, girl, go ahead. You can support it by subscribing to this video or this channel. You can like this video. You can comment on the video. You can basically do whatever you want. And yeah, I think that's it, you guys. I hope you have a morning. I hope you have a nice morning, afternoon, evening, or night whenever you're listening to this. And I've got to go do some practicing, so I will talk to you all tomorrow. Okay? Okay, so just, okay? Okay, I love you, mean it. Bye!